Hokage's podcast. We're your hosts, Kay, Kareem, and Hanif. Today's episode is all about villains. We're going to start with Agatha All Along, the new Marvel series on Disney Plus, and then we'll make our way over to Rings of Power, where we're kind of going to focus a little bit more on Sauron instead of the other characters. And then finally, we're going to talk about villains and as a whole, like which villains were actually right in their logic and their plots on whatever movie or TV that we so choose. So let's start with Agatha All Along. It's only 2 episodes in out of 9 episodes. So far, I like it. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I don't know much about Agatha Harkness except for what I've seen inside of WandaVision. So before that, I didn't know of her existence inside the comic books, anything else. I like the series so far. I don't really have any problems with it. What are your thoughts on Agatha All Along?
Kareem, you want to go?
Yeah. So I think Agatha for me has the benefit of low expectation. So I didn't have an issue with it either. I thought the first 2 episodes were entertaining. The way the first episode started, where she's stuck in this detective mentality, where she's trying to solve the murder, and there's a lot of witty banter. I found that entertaining. I even thought they were going to go the mystery route. Well, are they really going to have to solve this murder? Is it going to take a long time to get her memory back? And I appreciated the fact that they really did not take long to break out of that mode. So even though I found it entertaining to start off with, I'm grateful that they did not drag it out. And then we got right back to where we left off, I guess, with WandaVision, which it took me a minute to remember exactly where we left off. So on one hand, I like the fact that they didn't give a whole recap of everything first, and they just moved the story forward. But on the other hand, I guess, I don't know if it's age, I don't know if it's a lot of other TV shows. It took me a minute to remember, oh yeah, that's right. This is what happened to her. Oh yeah, that's right. This is what happened to her at the end of WandaVision. This is what happened to the neighborhood. So I found it entertaining. It's something that I want to continue the story with. I do like the characters. Aubrey Plaza, I mean, you can't go wrong with her in pretty much any role that she's in. So I'm glad she's in this show. I do like the banter. I do like the mystery. I do like how they move the story forward. I do like that they did have some action, and there is still some suspense in my mind. I don't want to spoil anything with the show, but part of it was still creepy to me towards the end of the second episode. So I think this show has potential. I hope they don't bog it down with a lot of unnecessary stuff. They had 20 episodes, I get it, but with 9 episodes, I hope they get right to wherever they're trying to go with the story. Which I have no idea what they're trying to do. I just want to enjoy the ride. What are your thoughts on it?
Honestly, I'm like you. I had like Hanif. I literally no clue who this character was outside of WandaVision. I didn't even and I didn't even bother looking her up. I'm like, you know what? Whatever you guys tell me about her is what all I need to know. Comic books are one thing, video is different. So I don't care about who she really is or anything else. So I'm like, okay. I went in, I was like, it's not bad. I thought it was hilarious because like, wait. Because it took me a second to realize that she was in like a mystery. At first I was like, wait, this is how we're starting this show? Like, they let her be a cop? Wait, what? And then when like it went to the opening title sequence of the show, I was like, oh, okay, that's just hilarious and also stupid. But it surprised me, which is weird because like that's still kind of like WandaVision, but it's done in such a fun way.
Mm-hmm.
Although I will say this whole thing about every time that boy says who he is or everything, that's getting really tired. And I get that it's because she can't know who he is and we can't know who he is, but at the same time, stop. Like, please stop. Like, I don't care. Just do something. Like,
Who do you think he is?
the theories online are that he's one of the brothers from one of Wanda's kids,
Oh,
because which
Wiccan?
would Yeah, which would be hilarious because he did say, my mom died, and oh well, okay, kid. Like, as they're sitting in front of Hot Topic, like, oh, we're gonna have this kind of conversations. Sure. I do like the introduction to each of the witches. I thought that was a really cool thing. Again, I did not go in. No, I'm not gonna lie. Going in, I thought this was gonna be really bad. So I am pleasantly surprised it's not. It's actually fairly interesting. I like it. I don't want to say that I don't want my hopes to get up high. So like I do have questions like, hold on. She's been in this funk, in this mode for like 3 years. Where were the police? Where were
Well, I mean, I don't think the town of Westville knew that she was a witch. I think after the whole thing with Wanda, and I think they were all focusing on that Wanda, this Avenger, had held the town mentally captive or whatever, and she was just another citizen of the town that was injured or whatever, and lost her memory as far as her knowing that she was a witch who was put under a spell by Wanda. I too thought it was going to be like a true. Well, I thought it was going to start off like this is her backstory. She was actually a cop. Then it's like, okay, then and the Aubrey Plaza mentions the true crime, and then put that together with the opening artwork, the title screen. I was like, okay, it's like their version of Twin Peaks, maybe.
That's what I was saying. I was like, what is the cool Twin Peaks?
Yeah, so then I thought maybe they're going to do each episode is going to be a different genre of TV, like WandaVision was, which I'm not opposed to it. It's something different. I'm glad it didn't take that route for episode 2. Episode 2 seemed more, along the lines of just story. We're going to push the storyline, introduce the different ladies that's going to be part of your coven. They actually had a little song thing done in the basement, which was pretty cool. I'm still interested to know what if this lady is actually a witch. The mother from 70s show, I can't remember her real life name, but she's along. It's like she's along for the ride, but she doesn't seem like she's a witch. But she's like, okay, well, whatever. I'll come with you girls or wherever we're gonna go. Sure.
I hope she's not the human sacrifice. Like, that's what I'm hoping. Like, don't let her be the human sacrifice. Just
okay.
This poor lady.
It might be her pet.
She just might be, because I thought the fourth witch was supposed to be Aubrey Plaza's character about the heart. And then when it actually worked, I went like, wait, how did it get the door open? Like, is she really a witch? So maybe she's some kind of a character that's really out to get Agatha, and she's just been biding her time. We just don't know it yet.
That would be cool.
So you never know. I really don't know where the show is going, other than to try to get their powers back. So I think I can be pleasantly surprised a lot while watching the season.
Although, like, I feel like maybe she's not necessarily, well, maybe she is a witch, because that boy seems to have the deeds on everybody. And I'm just like, Agatha herself should be like, hold on, this kid knows way too much about everybody's situation to find this just, we're not asking the right questions.
Well, he knew about our world background. I don't think he knew about them being a witch, because when they went to Patti LuPone's Medium story, he didn't know. He was like, "What are we going here for? She's really a witch? Okay, whatever." He doesn't know. He just knew from whatever I guess he can Google that. Like with the black woman who's the I forgot what type of witch she is. The potions witch that class action lawsuits. She didn't know about her being. He doesn't know of their witch lifestyle. He just knows of what our reality presents to us, which is still fine. I guess he's our guide into their world.
You know who he really is, though? Mephisto.
The first
he finally got Mephisto now.
I would be okay with that as well, to be honest, because I was like, that might be why I look like the curly M on his face. Like, I can deal with that. I would be perfectly okay if it ended up being Mephisto.
It's Mephisto.
He just like he got stuck because he needed the Darkhold, and now he's trying to find his power.
He's stuck in that body.
Right. It's like he's been shoved into this human body. That's fine.
Yeah.
But I hope it does. Like you were saying before we started the conversation, I do think they missed an opportunity, like you said, for them to have started the show with the first episode on the 13th. on Friday
Yeah,
the
I
13th.
think a good marketing pull would have been, Friday the 13th is the first episode, but we're going to go the next episode. We'll put on our regular date, which will be the upcoming. I think it was Wednesday, September 18th or something like
Yeah.
that. So I was like that. I mean, instead of giving us 2 episodes on a Wednesday, you can still do because it's on streaming. So I don't think it's anything other than pushing a button to make it available. So I thought that was. I mean, I guess it was still lined up so they can still have the last episode air October 30th, the day before Halloween. They could have still done something like that. We got 7 more episodes. I'm sure I'd like to see more about the other coven. I think it was like the Salem 6 or Salem 7. I forgot the title.
The people that were coming to kill her? Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to know a little bit more about them. A little backstory about them would be nice.
Because I love that. Like every time you saw a different type of familiar. So you saw the crow, you saw the rat, you saw the wolf, and I'm like, oh yeah, all these familiars are out to get you. Like they have found you, and it's brilliant.
Yeah,
I thought that was really cool.
I think as long as this doesn't have to try to feel like it has to tie into an upcoming film, I think we're good. Like it doesn't. I don't think you need to treat it like this is like how Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. used to be back in the day, where this was like filler in between the film. Like I don't need that. You just make a series. It could be a standalone, similar to Daredevils, Luke Cage. Like those were standalones. It didn't need to have to tie into a bigger world, a bigger event. You can mention stuff that happens in the films, but it doesn't have to like if you don't watch this show, you're not gonna know what's gonna happen in this movie because you have to see how this turns out by watching the show. Like that to me is where a lot of times they fail, especially with the previous Marvel television shows. Like they felt like you had to watch this in order to tie it back into the bigger picture, the movies, like WandaVision into Doctor Strange 2. Like didn't really need it. To me, I don't think you needed it. You could have just started the movie off without having to watch WandaVision.
Yeah.
And I agree 100%, especially since we don't really know what is supposed to happen next in MCU. Is it going to still be multiverse? Is it going to be Doctor Doom? And so to try to tie this into the larger universe, I think they can make a big mistake. Just turn it into maybe the multiverse feeder, or Doctor Doom just gets him sorcery, and now he becomes a sorcerer. It's like you don't need that. Let's just have something to enjoy, good characters, good action, good story, and then let's move on to the next one.
Yeah. So that being said, I'm trying to think outside of Agatha. I think the next thing coming out for Marvel's, Disney television, I think is what Ironheart. There's another Ironheart, or I think I'm trying to think what else they may have coming out this year or early next year in regards to MCU television stuff. Because I think they're still filming Daredevil. I think they're still filming that, which honestly, that's the only one. I don't really care about Ironheart. I'd rather just watch Daredevil, see how they spin this. It's going to, him battling Kingpin again. That's always entertaining.
Yeah. I think Daredevil comes out first because I don't think they announced an actual release date for Ironheart yet. I know Daredevil they did. Daredevil's supposed to be in March.
Oh, well, New York Comic Con's right around the corner. They may announce some stuff there or around that timeline.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see. Like, it doesn't look like anything really, because I'm just looking online right now, and it says Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man TBD, Eyes of Wakanda TBD for 2024. So I don't know if anything else is coming up this year.
So that may end. So this may end the year, which I mean, that's fine. It's not like, oh, what am I going to do? And that's fine. It can end in October. And speaking of October, October 1st is Deadpool versus Wolverine will be on Disney Plus. So for those who have Disney Plus and you haven't seen Deadpool versus Wolverine, it'll be available for free on Disney Plus streaming service. You ain't got to pay the movie theater ticket prices to enjoy the show. But that's enough for Disney Plus. We're going to move over to Prime Video, where Rings of Power had this latest episode. This was episode 6. I think it's going to be 10 or 11 episodes for Rings of Power this year. But I've enjoyed the season so far. They're focusing more on Sauron and him with Celebrimbor and the actual creation of the additional rings. He's already given the rings to the dwarves. They're now working on making the rings for the Kingdom of Men. I like it. I mean, Sauron is I think this is a good addition to the Lord of the Rings Hobbit series. Like I'm sure once the Rings of Power series finishes, like if you can sit down one full weekend and watch all of these, I think you get a better appreciation for the storylines of everything. I like how they're trying to introduce us to how the elves fall. I think that's really what the big story about Rings of Power this year is how Sauron corrupts the Elven Kingdom. Because when we get introduced to hobbits and Lord of the Rings, we just know of Rivendell. Region and the other cities, to my knowledge, don't exist anymore. And so I'm presuming that the rest of this season's episodes of Ring of Power, we're going to see the fall of the Elven Kingdom.
Yeah, I agree. It's still a lot of twists and surprises, but for me, it's enjoyable to see it unfold. They're not just telling us what happened; they're letting us actually see it. Even if the order may be different, to me, it's still entertaining. It's still engrossing. You can still follow the characters' motives. Everyone's behaving in a way where it is consistent with their character, and if it's not consistent, you understand why they suddenly change. So even with the Dwarven Kingdom, you can see where they're now starting to go wrong. How the rings are starting to corrupt them. Like you said, in the movies, we see Khazad-dûm, but we don't know how it got to that point. How they want to make their cities become basically a tomb, where we just see, just hordes of goblins. So I like how they're showing how everyone started to go wrong. The greed or the corruption from the rings. How Sauron is playing people against each other, even though he technically has no army. We still don't know, according to the show, we still don't know the full extent of his abilities. We do know that he has Celebrimbor completely tricked, where he can come outside, see a completely different reality than what's actually taking place. So we know he's a lost cause, so to speak, right now. He's just, but you don't know, is it pride that's causing him to act this way? Is it, Sauron's influence? And I think it's a little bit of everything. And this is what I like to, this is what I really enjoy about the show. You can see that, the rings are they're corrupted people, but he's building on something. And not only is he just relying on magic, but he's relying on strategy. So we see at the end, Galadriel saying, wait, this is what he wants. You start to realize maybe this is what he wants. What is it he's trying to really do? I do like the suspense. I do like the characters. I don't know about the maybe Gandalf storyline yet. I do enjoy that character, but it seems like it's inching along. And so it's like, do we really need to cut to him? Maybe just to not forget about him. But we don't need to see him every episode if they're not going to advance that storyline. But this to me is the complete opposite of House of Dragon, where every episode was just a preview for what might happen. In this show, things are popping off left and right, episode after episode. I mean, battle after battle. This one's fighting, this one's getting killed, this one's starting a war. So it's like, I love how action-packed this season has been. I'm really enjoying it. If someone is a diehard Lord of the Rings fan and they don't like the show, I don't think this episode is going to convince them to like the show. But if you've been enjoying the show, I think this episode is a good way to start the second half of the season. I'm really enjoying it that way.
Yeah, I agree. One thing I think Kareem was kind of fading in and out when you're talking about. I understood what you were saying. There's so many storylines in the show that you can kind of pick and choose which story or which characters you want to follow and favorite. For me, for my wife and I, we enjoy the story of Disa and like dwarves, but also the Harfoots. But they didn't give it in this past episode. They didn't give us much about the Harfoots. It was almost like a reminder, like, oh yeah, remember they're still in the desert. Don't forget about them. But we're going to switch back over to Galadriel and Sauron, Celebrimbor, and them, potentially clashing. Which I'm presuming next episode is going to be an all-out fight at Eregion because the orcs and goblins are right across the water. It's already starting to bombard them with catapults and stuff. But to see like I said, see the downfall of the kingdom of Khazad-dûm. It's like that was already looking nice before, and now it's like the greed and the way the ring can corrupt you and make you think you're doing something good when you're really just falling under the power of Sauron. It's like it's messed up. But I also want to know what happens to these rings, because we know about the One Ring and how it affects everyone. But what happens to those rings of the dwarves? Because we know the human rings, they turn into wraiths. So what happens to the dwarf kings? Do they just die and the rings just get lost in their, all that treasure, or just what happens to those rings?
We got a glimpse of the Balrog and the fire, so I don't think they're going to keep teasing that without showing a prominent role for it. Maybe they're saving a lot of the budget for showing the Balrog. I'm excited for that. But maybe that's going to play a role into what happens to the ring. Mm-hmm. We can see it's like now it's about war profiteering. It's no longer about trying to help people, no longer about trying to make sure this one or so they don't come to power. It's more about, hey, we can profit off of this.
Yeah.
And you can see how that can actually really happen. War profiteering, it's like, hey, we'll make out all right. We don't care what happens on the outside, because again, we're our own kingdom. We can just close our doors. No one can get in unless they have the password. So to me, it's really interesting how this has impacted everyone's true nature. Well, I'm really curious to see how it's going to play out, even on the human side of it, because we can see, the Valar, they seem a little bit fickle. It's like, yeah, one day you're going to be in charge. The next day, this one's going to be in charge. Let's endorse this one now. Let's endorse that one. It's like they're kind of confusing the populace, but I really want to see how that's going to unfold.
Well, we know what happens to them. I mean, they get wiped away in the tidal wave, I guess, from the first season. They showed us with the Palantir shows the destruction of that land. But then they said, well, no, because the queen says no, someone else touched the ball, but she didn't. She no longer saw the destruction of that island. But it's like he wasn't even on the island. He was back probably on the mainland looking for his son. So technically, that land could have been wiped away. We don't know. But I agree, they are very fickle. Whichever symbolisms work one day, they'll go with that. And the next thing, oh, so eagle. So this is person with King Pharazôn. Oh, the sea serpent. The queen is back. It's like, y'all need to make up your mind. See, what y'all doing here is all haram. That's the problem.
Right. Imagine doing Poland for votes there. It's like every day, every change. It's like, what's going on? It's just,
yeah.
It's going to be interesting. I think they're going to knock it out of the park.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on it, Kay?
I would just like for time. Okay, this is my biggest issue with this show. Tell me how long something actually is. Like, give me distance and give me actual time, because I have a problem with the fact that you've gone back and forth to the dwarves, and at no point, like, what is the timeline? What? How far are the dwarf kingdom to the forge? Where are the elves at? Because something like it was supposed to take, like, the elves initially were coming, and it was going to take them like a week. That first rider group of people that came through, it was supposed to take them a week to get there. Okay, cool. So then, because the bridge went out, it was going to be like another 2 weeks. Okay, cool. But now we done gone back and forth between the elves, from the elves to, well, from Brimbor and the dwarves back and forth. Y'all have gone back and forth multiple times.
Yeah.
What's the distance? What's the timeline? Because this makes no sense. And again, if your friend is an elf, and you distrust this one because you're like, oh, I don't really know him, but he's like, oh yeah, he's still doing with this other stuff in the other place. Why didn't one of you dwarves go find your elf friend? Y'all don't talk. We take what this dude says for granted, and the dumb, and I know it's because this is his power, but like the dumb girl who works for Celebrimbor,
Merindia, something like that, the blonde hair. Yeah.
Yes, that moron. So you listen to this man because he told you look like Galadriel?
That's probably one of the highest compliments you can give an elven woman, I guess, was that you look like one of the higher up ladies. I don't know.
Tell me how stupid that is. Because again, I'm going to say this. you got a problem with like you put on the ring that your boss did not have any hand in creating, and it took you to a very dark place, and you let this dude who was human when you first saw him tell you, oh, that's because it's from your from Celebrimbor's mind, but he never touched those. So you tell me how you believe this, and you're just like, oh well, you know what? This guy who, sure, he's supposed to be some mythical magical BS, but like, why aren't y'all talking?
But
Just
even,
like the dumb.
to even add on to that one, how is that even Celebrimbor? No, he sees him as a human, tells him go away. We're not supposed to deal with you. And and then he walks out of the forge, bathed in light and fire or whatever, with the gold lace front, and he's like, oh, I'm someone else or whatever, Antar or whatever, and I'm basically like an elven deity or mythical, like I said, mythical figure. It's like, but I need you to help forge this stuff. Like, you just walked out of fire. Why do I have to do anything? Like, why do I have to get my hands dirty to assist you in this endeavor?
Yeah, and this is where I think the show, it throws a lot out there without explaining it. But they're similar like Easter eggs. So now that you mentioned it, Kay, in terms of him mentioning Galadriel, yeah, I don't recall the show talking about her as like the most beautiful where you look upon her, you're dazed by her beauty, things of that nature. So the compliment wouldn't seem as important in terms of playing into someone's ego, someone's emotions, and being able to manipulate them. Because all you've seen from her is she's just fighting here and there, and it's like, well, you think of the movie when she gave a strand of hair to dwarf, it was like, wow, that was like one of the greatest gifts ever. So I agree the show didn't touch on that part of it, which is why I think they can eliminate some of the filler, because there's a lot of lore to dive into. But also, even in terms of Celebrimbor, when he shows him the hammer, he's really playing with his ego. He's really playing with this. I can create a feat that will be one of the greatest feats of all time. Cimaril's there, the brightest thing ever. I can do something even greater than that. And it's like they show it as an aside. It's an Easter egg. But if you really don't know the significance of that hammer that he's tricking him with, you won't understand how he really has him in this spell where, yeah, he's probably done for at this point.
See,
but I understand your points completely.
Like, I can even understand that. Like, I can get Celebrimbor being like mesmerized by him. I get it because he told him that their king was like, we're using it for ourselves. But when you then find out that he lied to you, and you're like, oh well, yeah, if you do it, you're also to blame. I'm sorry, but you're this deity creature that everybody knows of, and blah 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 blah. And you mean to tell me my king will be upset at me because I listen to you, this deity dude?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a bunch of stupid people making even dumber choices, but we're expected to believe that these people were smart. And I'm just like, I get the humans being dumb. We're human. We're supposed to be stupid in this sense. I get it. Like, also the girl, the dude's daughter.
Oh my god!
I hope she dies, and I hope she dies.
Wait,
the
one that helped him overthrow the queen.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I hope she dies.
Like,
what is she gonna do when
Isildur
walks back in there?
Kill the friend though. I was like, they didn't have to run them through like that. I was like, that's messed up.
What is she gonna do when Isildur shows up alive? Like, oops. Is she gonna say oops? Like,
yep.
Like, what is she gonna say?
Yep.
At that point, it's just like I can't wait for that to happen.
Watching and before we started talking, I was talking about Harry Potter. Watching the people in Numenor, the son is like Draco Malfoy, and the father is like Lucius Malfoy. Like, they both have like this fabulous hair. It's like, but very they're very punchable in the face. Like, you know you're doing wrong.
Yeah.
But this is your thirst for power, and people whispering in your ear that you are the right one. You should go ahead and do this. You should take the seat of power. And then he becomes corrupted by holding on to the Palantir and seeing whatever dark visions. Or looks like he sees the destruction of the island as well. But
he sees the ring.
Yeah, so I'm guessing Numenor's gonna get a ring.
And I think he's going to be the one to get it because I think he sees I think he sees the guy,
Anatar and Sauron.
Yeah.
They did show Sauron, but I think they showed him as a human. I think they showed him when he was still Halbrand. Because remember, he was familiar with Halbrand because he was there before.
Right.
So what Halbrand's gonna match. Well, that's the thing with Sauron. I'm presuming, like you had mentioned, that how is it he can get from the Elven kingdom to Dwarven thing? He's some super being. So I'm thinking not time travel, but I think he can teleport himself much quicker than humans and elves can move from place to place. But that should also take into effect when someone sees you do that. Like, oh, how'd you get the mithril so fast? You just left yesterday. It's normally a 3-day, a fortnight to get to here and back. But now you just came in with a whole jar of pure mithrils. Like,
you got one of those city bikes.
With all-terrain tires as he goes through the forest.
City bikes.
Rocks floating in the air.
Everything.
he's looking like Robin Thicke back in the days when he was doing the music videos on a bicycle.
But yeah, I need to be.
So
this show
we
needs.
got at least another, I think 4 episodes left of Rings of Power. And the one thing I like about this season is that it's definitely a lot more action than the previous season. Every episode's got something. Yeah. But yeah.
We'll see. But I think the second half is going to be even better than the first half at this point. All the pieces are in place, and it's just a matter of watching it all unfold now.
True. So we talked about 2 different villains. No, Agatha Harkness, Sauron, the Great Deceiver. He has many names in the Lord of the Rings lore. We're going to start talking that, and that was all in a negative viewpoint. So we're going to talk about villains from television, books, or movies that had some valid points of why they were doing it and what their end goal was. One recently, my friend Aaron, who actually showed me the trailer for the new live-action Mufasa Lion King prequel. Now, how we all grew up with Lion King was that Mufasa was the rightful heir of the pride of the land, and Scar was his brother, who resented him and wanted to have the pride for himself, have power for himself. That's why he was a villain. But according to the Mufasa prequel, Mufasa was an orphan cub that the pride adopted. So the rightful heir of the pride was actually Scar. So something must have taken place inside this film that makes Mufasa become the new head or king of the pride and surpasses Scar. So I think Scar was actually right in Lion King for wanting to get his throne back. So I was thinking about that. What made me thought about that. What villains were actually right in doing what they're doing to try to come about either their own version of a good or just society, or just getting their own version of justice. See, he was like heavy sigh.
Because I think there are a lot of villains who had valid points, and I think those shows or some of those movies did a really great job of showing like gray areas and presenting it as, well, they may have started the right course, and the hero in the show starts off thinking everything is black and white, but as the movie goes on, you can see them changing up a little. Like movies like Blade Runner, where people start to learn, like, wait, everything isn't as simple as it seems. So to me, I don't like the new Scar, and again, I haven't watched the movie. I don't know when it's coming.
I don't think, it's not out yet, but I mean, yeah.
I don't like how they're recreating his story, at least from the way the trailer is, and that's what bothers me, because it's like, let villains be villains. We don't need a backstory for every single villain where they're justified in their actions, because part of, and this is where I have to put on my tinfoil hat, where it's like you create a complacent mentality, like, well, maybe this person is right, maybe we really should go after them, maybe we really shouldn't stand up to them because there's something valid about what they're doing, despite all the harm and destruction that they're causing. So even if Scar was right, what happened to the kingdom after Mufasa died is still not justifiable. And so
right.
whether he was a villain ahead of time, he became a villain clearly after the fact. And so that's the part that I have an issue with. Where it's like this lazy. Yeah, the person who is a villain, they have a reason for it. We're not going to really make it clear, but just run with like Kylo Ren. Like, yeah, he should be allowed to massacre, entire planets because his uncle had a lightsaber in front of him when he was sleeping one night. It's like, come on. Like, and so I just, I don't like that. And so I think they did a better job with Killmonger in terms of, well, is he someone that should have had a right to the throne? Was he even right about Wakanda opening up? I do think Killmonger was a villain. I do think that he was still wrong in a lot of ways. But I think they did try to portray it in such a way where even nowadays people think Killmonger was right, but he wasn't, in my opinion. He wasn't. But you can make the case that maybe he was. And so I like the gray in that. Because to me, Killmonger killed a lot of people he didn't have to kill. And he still wasn't trying to do it for the right reasons. He still wanted to unleash war everywhere else. So that to me is he's still a villain. But hey, he was done wrong in a way where maybe he did have a right to the throne. So I like the complexities in that. I think, but in terms of a villain who was actually right completely, I would say it was Gollum. I know we just talked about Rings of Power. But when you think about it, Gollum was right to make sure Frodo did not leave with that ring. And he was right to chase them around, to give them hell, because he literally saved everybody when you think about it. So Gollum is one of the real heroes in this whole thing.
Listen,
he didn't let Sauron get the ring for how long?
No.
Think about it. For centuries, he didn't let Sauron get the ring. He didn't let the Orcs get the ring. He's out there going dolo by himself, holding it down. No one could find him. And then at the end, he was responsible for destroying the ring. So I think Gollum is old something nowadays.
That is a reach. That is.
That was over 9,000. So there's no way
Gollum was right. I made my case for Gollum. He's the greatest villain turned hero ever.
Gosh, that was a reach, dude. That was such a reach.
What's your take, Kay? Who's a villain that you think was right or was morally gray in there?
Frankenstein's monster.
But he's not really a villain. If anything, the townsfolk are a villain.
Right, but think about it. He's the one that's painted as the villain, but realistically, he's not. He's just a creature that was brought to life. And sure, he potentially may have killed one little girl, one child, one. Not right, but I'm just saying,
not on purpose, I don't think.
Exactly. So, I mean, I could go with like Killmonger, but I'm like, no, he was still wrong. I could go with Magneto, but I'm like, Magneto has points, but at the same time, dude, you're still killing people. So no. Do some of them deserve it? Yes, in the comic books. Yes, in the movies. Yes, in the cartoon. Yes, agreed. Some of them deserve it. But at that point, we're like justifying mass murder. So I wanted to choose someone who was like simple and easy that we could all get behind. Frankenstein's monster was not the villain. He was just portrayed as the villain. Okay. Yeah, I know it's a cop out, and I will accept that I'm copping out. Or okay, you know what? It'll be another Disney character, Shere Khan.
Okay.
From the Jungle Book.
Okay.
He was not wrong, because man,
he wasn't wrong.
His methods may have been wrong, but man was destructive, and he was right. So yes, was he a horrible? No, he wasn't even. It's just he was Shere Khan was a Shere Khan, but like technically, in terms of Disney standard, without even having to rewrite his back history or anything to try to make him give us sympathy points, Shere Khan was correct, because that's what man did. Mowgli didn't do it, sure, but every other human did.
Okay, I would say no, you're right on that. I think who else would be a villain? I would say Heath Ledger's Joker was a villain. However, he wasn't. I mean, like again, I think a lot of the stuff we're getting tied up in is this the method that the villains take to get their end results. is drawn. Like you said, Magneto, too many deaths. Killmonger killed too many deaths. I still think Killmonger was right in his logic, but in his execution was incorrect. Like if he says, I want to bring all of the people of color around the world who's being downtrodden, I want to know this technology and these abilities that we have in Wakanda. Let's go out and give that to them. Rather than that's I'm more in favor of that as opposed to let's get these warships and just start taking down everybody. Like that's just going to breed more war. It's not going to help. It's not going to help the people in the short run. It's not going to help anyone. And then in the long run, it's probably going to breed animosity towards you for doing that. And that's probably why T'Challa made those. The Oakland, what was it, Wakanda Welcome Center or whatever. It's like this is a better way of doing it as opposed to bringing missiles and vibranium bombs and stuff to foreigners. Yeah, I think Joker was right. No, he says this is I'm robbing from the mafia, robbing from those who are corrupting the city of Gotham, and I'll just watch it burn. It's not wrong. You built from the ashes, but he wasn't wrong. So again, it's the execution of it all.
He could have passed some of those bills out first, though, and then burn like the rest.
I didn't think they had to take out Michael Jai White like that, but but I didn't think he was totally wrong in some of his thought process.
What about the chef from Ratatouille? I saw something about that. Do you really want a rat cooking your food?
No.
I would say no.
It's like Spider-Man 2, Dr. Octopus. I don't. Yeah, he was. I don't think. I think with the tentacles corrupted him, but he's still trying to bring clean energy to the world. So he was trying to do something good. Spider-Man got in his way, and he kind of got distracted. Another good guy going bad.
Yeah.
Like Venom. Venom was the movie version of Venom is pretty much just an anti-hero, just some dude with a symbiote in his system eating people's heads.
But did Spider-Man make him a villain? And not in terms of the movie, in terms of the comic book. Because if you think about it, he was a superhero first. He helped Spider-Man stop all these crimes, and he just wanted a hug at the end of the day. And then Spider-Man had to go get the bell. Had to go get the bell. He just wanted a hug. Yeah. He would have been whatever. I know they did a lot of revisionist history in terms of the symbiote, but
yeah.
Think about it. He did save a lot of people.
Eventually.
Yeah.
When he was the when the symbiote was with Spider-Man, you saw a darker side of him, but he wasn't a villain. You just he was a lot more aggressive, a lot more rude than he normally is. When he's on Eddie Brock, he was the anger towards Peter Parker, Spider-Man, is what drove him. But if we come in, we're just sticking straight to the film version of Venom. I don't see Venom as ever being a villain. Like he was strictly just defending himself.
Those dance moves were kind of foul.
Come on, man.
You can't get away with that. You can't let him get away with that.
Okay. What? Now we talked offline about Harry Potter. What about No, I know Voldemort's wrong. I was gonna say Snape. Is Snape considered a villain, or is he an anti-hero?
Snape.
I think he has villain properties, but not truly a villain.
I think. Yeah, Kareem, you go first.
You go first.
Okay, for Snape. All right, for Snape, I don't he's a villain in a sense the way he's to the kids, but considering Harry's, yes, somebody made your life miserable, completely horrible. But guess what? You outlived that person. Woohoo! I know that's wrong, but in terms of fiction and stuff, that person that did you wrong is dead. So it was he's in that weird gray, you are a villain because you were complete trash to these kids, and you were complete trash to a bunch of people, not just Harry Potter, because Harry is kind of also the villain in his own way, because I'm you should be dead so many times because you are a horrible person. But
He's horrible because he's not smart.
right, like this kid is
He's like
dumb.
Luffy. He's just not smart. But
Yeah. He surrounds himself with very good people. But like Snape, I can't like he's a villain and he's not because it's just you feel sympathy for him because the one person that treated him with that was nice to him, he was like, well, I have an unhealthy fixation on you, which is weird. But then a group of guys decided to make his entire schooling horrible. But again, like, yo, them dudes is dead.
Yeah.
For the
But
most
I would
part.
say he's somewhat of a hero because who else would have, if they didn't have him, they would not have been able to stop him. I mean, Dumbledore was out here left and right, doing his thing. And it's like, you know what? Snape really looked out for Harry in a number of ways in terms of he helped him survive. I mean, you think about it at the end of the day, he helped him survive.
He did.
And, again, I'm not so familiar with the books. I'm just mostly basing this off of the movies. But he was crucial in helping destroy Voldemort in my mind.
Speak louder.
He was crucial in helping Voldemort and helping defeat Voldemort in my mind, and in helping Harry grow in the ways that he needed to grow in order to survive. Every other adult was pretty much like, let's send them back to this dangerous school and just be done with these kids. It's like, that's not the best decision, How much you're paying for tuition again?
The way they get rid of their kids, it must be free.
Yeah.
The Weasleys ain't got money.
Right? They didn't.
I don't know. Like, it's hard to say who's really a villain because, like, someone has said like Count Dooku is a villain, but he was right.
But then if someone's right, does that still make them a villain? I think to me it's more so the execution of the plan or your view. Like, Dooku I don't think was wrong, but it's just the execution. I don't think he knew. I don't think he knew that until it was too late that Palpatine was the Emperor and was playing both sides. I think by then it was too late for him to get out of Dodge. Like, I'm stuck.
But like, yeah, and I think that's the thing. Like, the real villains, like if you're on the villain side, but you're not like the main villain, I guess it's easier to say that you're kind of right because you're like you believe what's happening, like you're there for a reason. But
like in the Mummy, Benny, his friend, like like he had all the different chains. Like, he's not a villain. He was like, no, a henchman, but he was, like he said, I'm just his self-preservation. If I stay close to him, I'll stay out of his way. He won't be looking to hurt me.
Right.
Had he survived at the end of the first Mummy, super spoiler alert for those who haven't seen Mummy. Had he survived, I don't think the movie would have been any worse off for it. He could have realized at the end that I'm just erring my ways. These are still my O'Connell is still my friend. So I'm gonna try to help him out at the end. Turn good or something like that. Because O'Connell did try to reach out and help him before the doors closed on him, but that's another person I don't think is a villain, just like a henchman, just caught up in it.
Yeah. I'm like thinking like Marvel has like a lot of villains that are not wrong. Mm-hmm. Like even in their movies, like the Gore the God Killer, he wasn't wrong. Like he wasn't.
I don't know what that movie is. I don't know. We're not gonna love
I'm sorry.
I know who the real villain was in that movie, but
the director,
yeah.
Fine, so I will go with Caecilius then.
Okay.
Because technically she was lying. She was using Caecilius was not wrong. It's just what he was doing was just like, sir, there's a way to like balance. You're crazy.
Yeah, true.
What about Darth Vader?
He killed the younglings, man. He's not Darth Vader's wrong. He killed younglings. Come on. What was he trying to accomplish? Other than whatever the Palpatine told him to do.
Did that.
So we're saying that Anakin and Darth Vader are two different people. Like no.
Okay, so what was Darth Vader's plan other than he wanted to have his son rule the galaxy with him? That's okay.
He wanted to streamline things. he wanted to streamline the chaos in the galaxy, and,
Uh-huh.
and stop making it so where it's just about this elite Jedi force, and anyone could become one with the force. It didn't have to go before a council. He just trying to streamline things. A lot of fighting, a lot of rebels. You had an empire to control everything. There would be no more fighting, and sometimes you just got to choke people out with the force. And
if I had something soft to throw at the camera, I would definitely throw it that I was throwing it at you. Okay, I need something soft to toss at the camera, just so I know that I'm throwing it at you. But all I have is my phone, and that's not going to work.
Yeah. So I'd be interested to hear from our viewers, listeners, who are some villains that they think, whether from the literary world, television, film as well, who they think was labeled as a villain, but it was actually right in their ways or wrong in their ways, but right in what their goal would be,
without them having to rewrite the story. Because people are going to say,
without having to
like, no, right? Like without them having to rewrite the story to tell it from their point of view, like the Wicked Witch to the West. Like don't do that. Like based on the original line,
mm-hmm.
What was a villain that you believe is not wrong?
I would say, well, I think we got a lot of animes that we could probably put into that category. The anime villains.
I would say was the father from.
You better not say from Full Metal.
No way.
So here's the thing: was he the villain? Well, you said he made up anime. Look, so in that sense, technically, it was his job to do to figure this out. Think about it again. I'm not.
Who are you? He's totally a villain.
What? Wouldn't it be because the pressures that the government was putting on him to find this solution?
So let me go and sacrifice my daughter with my dog. See if that's gonna do it. We're gonna stop here. You're going too far.
What if she had bad vibes? She had bad vibes.
Okay, fine.
Kay is alone in this logic. I don't think he was a hero or an anti-hero.
No,
I'm just saying he's not necessarily the biggest villain. Like I'm just.
Well, yeah, he's not the biggest
person.
villain, but he's still a villain. That's not our question. The question not who's the least villain. We're just saying who's a villain who was deemed a villain, but it actually wasn't one.
But he solved the equation. Like...
Stop.
Oh, man, people are gonna hate me after this.
Reach out to Kay directly, Lazy Girl Nerd on Instagram, with your thoughts on Full Metal Alchemist.
I hate you.
I think it was Gollum.
Fine. We'll take Gollum. Gollum
was nowhere near close to being it. He was a hero because he held onto the ring as he in the ring melted.
He was saving it from everybody else. He was saving it from everybody else, and then he was responsible for it being destroyed.
So then Bilbo's a hero too. Then.
Well, yeah, but he wasn't portrayed as a villain.
Oh, okay.
Gollum is treated as a villain.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna stop this. We'd love to hear your comments on who you think was labeled a villain and is actually not a villain. Anime, TV, film, books. Let us know in the comments below, or tag us in your comments on social media. We're your hosts, Kay, Kareem, and Hanif. Have a good one.